All right, guys. So now it's time for you to, if you don't have a Heroku account already, then to create one, and you can sign up for free. You don't need to add a credit card or anything like that. So just go ahead and go to Heroku.com and sign up. Just fill out this simple form, and you should get registered. You might have to validate your email. All right, and then log in. So I already have an account, obviously, so I'm going to go ahead and log in. And then you're going to see a page like this, but you're not going to have anything here. These are two sample apps that I have. If you're creating a new account, you won't see anything here. Now, we need to install something called the Heroku tool belt on our system. So I'm going to search for Heroku tool belt. I don't know the exact URL. Also called the Heroku CLI. And it depends on what system you're using, what steps you're going to take. If you're on Mac, then you can use Homebrew to install it. You can also use the installer. Or if you're on Linux Ubuntu, you can run this wget command. Other installation methods down here. I'm on Windows, so I'm going to just grab the 64-bit installer and go ahead and download that. And we're going to install it just like any other Windows program. We want to make sure all of these are checked. We want to set the path to Heroku CLI so we can run our Heroku commands. I usually do have an issue running Heroku commands within Git Bash until I restart my machine. So I may just have to use the standard Windows command line when we're doing anything that has to do with Heroku commands. But usually after I restart my machine, the path kicks in. I don't know why it does that. You may or may not have that issue. And if you've never used Heroku before, the way it works is similar to GitHub. We use Git to push. Okay, so we create our local repository. I've actually been doing Git commits throughout the entire course. It's all right if you haven't. You just basically need to make one. And then once we have our local repository, we can add our application in Heroku that we're going to create as a remote repository, and then we can simply push to that. Okay, so that's how it works. And we're still using mlab as our database, so that's separate from Heroku. Heroku actually recommends using mlab if you're going to be using MongoDB. All right, so it looks like the CLI is done. Do they even call it the tool belt anymore? I'm not sure. Doesn't look like it. They used to call it Heroku tool belt. Anyway, so that should now be installed. Now, if I go to my my internal server, what the heck? My integrated terminal here, and stop the server with Control-C. I'm just going to try to run Heroku and see if anything happens here. Okay, so it does work here. If it doesn't for you and you're on Windows, then just go ahead and open up a standard Windows command line, just, CMD, run it as administrator, and do your Heroku commands from here. All right, but what we're going to do now is we need to actually log in to Heroku through our terminal, and it's going to be the same login that you used to sign up with. So let's say Heroku login, and we want our credentials. Hope that's right. All right, so now I'm logged in, and now we want to create an application. So we do that with Heroku create, and I should mention that you do need Git installed. So if you're using Git Bash on Windows, you have Git installed. Hopefully you have it installed if you're on Mac or Linux as well. I'm sure you do. All right, so what we've done is we've created an app in Heroku, and you can see that it gives us this weird looking URL. Yours is going to be different than this. Okay, it's going to be something weird though. Now what we want to do is actually go to the Heroku interface. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to reload, and this is our new application, this Intense Citadel. Okay, and again, yours will be different. Now, one thing I want to do, we're not actually going to push just yet. We're going to do that in the next video because we have some other stuff to do before that. But let's go ahead and click on this, and this will show us our latest activity. which we haven't really done anything yet. We haven't pushed anything yet. But let's go to settings, and right here it says config variables. We're going to click on reveal config vars. Now this is where we need to put our environment variables. Remember in the code in the last video when we put our keys, if we go, not client, if we go to config keys prod, remember these things here? This is where we define these. Okay. So what we want is this part here, not the process.env, but I'm going to grab this. So Mongo underscore URI. I'm going to put that as a key. And then for the value, I'm just going to use the same database we've been using. So I'm going to grab this MongoDB URI here. And again, you could use a separate one for production. That's probably what you're going to want to do if this was an actual application you were going to keep on the internet and use. But I'm just going to use the same one. All right, so let's click add, and then we want the next value, which is this secret or key. So I'm going to copy that, which I think the value we just had as secret. Yeah, it's just the text secret. So we're going to paste that in as the key, and then just put in secret as the value. All right, so we'll go ahead and add that. If you don't add these, it's going to look for these and it's not going to work. Once you push to Heroku, it's not going to work because it's not going to be able to find these keys. All right, now the next thing we need to do in order to be able to push to our Heroku application is we need to get the remote command. So in deploy, you'll see right here, Heroku get remote. This is basically going to add this remote repository or this application as your source for when you push. Okay, so we want to grab this exact command, not mine, whatever you have in your interface, copy that, and then go back to your terminal, and I'll just clear this out, and we'll paste that in and run it. Okay, so you can see that it's set get remote Heroku to whatever your application repository is. Now, if we wanted to push right now, all we would have to do is say git push Heroku master, but I'm not going to do that yet, okay, because there's some steps that we need to take in order for our full stack React application to work. So that's what we're going to look at in the next video.